Well, printing something very big on a Bambu 3D printer using BambuStudio. Yes, that is possible. There are some things you need to consider if you are going to do so. And yes, I'm holding one of the dowels that I'm going to use within the bigger print, because the original is almost as big as the dowel itself. Using BambuStudio right here on Zachary's 3D prints. Let's get started. Hey, Zach here. Welcome to this video. I have scaled models before, but most of the time within the limit of a 3D printer. But if you get those people like, hey, I think you know exactly what I mean. Hey, can you also print me one of those Pokemon models, like bigger? And I said to this person, oh yeah, sure, I can. I mean, like, you can go as big as you want. But this guy said, like, we have this model and we want to have it printed like 75 centimeters. I said, yeah, I can use BambuStudio using Bambu P1S for printing the parts. So yeah, which model? And he said, like, yeah, this cute model. This is Triku, very cute, cool. I said, like, yeah, sure. Yeah, just let me know when you are going to slice it, and then we can see how much material is needed. If you're new here and not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive right into BambuStudio. And by the way, if you don't use BambuStudio, you can also do this with Orca Slicer. So let's dive right in. This is Triku on the build plate. If we click on the model, we go to the scale. You can see like this one is 70.5. If we are going to scale it, I need to have the centimeters. So how to fix this issue? Quite simple. This is 70 millimeters. So that means if I'm going to scale this up, I need to enter here 750 millimeters. And then we press enter. Like, for obvious reasons, this model does not fit on the build plate. You cannot print the model like this. You can see here right away, we are going to switch over to a different color. The printing volume of your 3D printer will be projected on right here. You can see exactly everything that is white will fit into the build plate, and everything else don't fit on the build plate. So we need to do something about it. But this is just step one of cutting a model into smaller parts. First scaling, then the cutting. We are going to find some spots how to cut a model like this into smaller parts. Let's start with the cutting. So we are going to cut this model into smaller parts. We are going to select the model, and then we are going to the cutting tool. We click on it, and now we get this huge white plane right on the midpoint of the model. So we need to zoom out a little bit because the model is fairly big. We are going to move it more here. What we are going to do first we are going to turn this plate a little bit because we are going to divide it in the vertical way. So we take here the red one and we are putting it at a 90 degrees angle. So we are going to cut the tails and the hands from this body. Here we have this yellow box. So we don't need to turn the cutting plane, we need to move it. So there we use this yellow block for. So we are going to move it a little bit here. Just check where the feet are, right on the bottom. If we go a little bit more, you will see exactly what happens here. See, we want to avoid that. We want to have a clean cut. The right side of the model is purple and the other side is like teal color, blue color. Here you have the very clear visual where the cut is going to be. If I move this yellow block a little bit more here, you see exactly that besides the hands and the tails, also a little bit of the feet backside is also going to be cut. You don't want to have something like that. We want to have as complete parts as possible without having loose parts from other body selections. So make sure if you're going to do something like that, that the cut is as close as possible without cutting other body parts. We are going to pan and rotate until you have a very clear sight how a model like this is going to be. And it doesn't matter if it is exactly this model or a different model. You need to make sure that if you are going to perform the cut, that you know that everything is connected. Now, before we are going to perform cut, we also need to add connectors. So before we are going to do that, we are going to click on add connectors. So what is going to happen now? It is going to remove the blue part from the purple part, but they are still connected. We are going to select a dowel. So keep in mind how the model is when you are going to make those holes for the dowels, because you also need to take account of the other side of the cut. So we are going to put one here, but that is very small. It doesn't fit. So we need to make it bigger. Size, shape circle. We are going for the hexagon, and you can change the size of this. I think like this is nice. We are going to place the dowels. Let's place one here. Now you can move it around. You can make it a little bit smaller. This is the tolerance. I personally don't touch this because if you are messing up, the dowels will be too loose. If you are going to use dowels, you can play with it. I mean, like, I didn't change anything and the dowels will fit. It's a strong fit, but eventually you want to have as less space possible. Don't be too tolerant with that. The depth ratio, you can say like 30. We have here also the box for tolerance. For the depth ratio, I go for 30 millimeters. So that means on one side, but also on the other side. We click here on another one. So 2. They don't have to perfectly align. But keep in mind for the placement of the dowels. And we click on confirm connectors. We didn't cut anything. We just selected where we want to make the cut and then where to place the dowels. And then preform cut. So now we have here the cut, we have the model, and we have one dowel. But be not mistaken, these are 2 dowels. So what we are going to do, we are going to cut all the parts of this model into smaller sections and the dowels on just one build plate. So that you have one build plate only with the dowels, much quicker. So what we are going to do, we are clicking on plus, we are going to add a build plate. We are going to turn this around and we are going to place that one right in there. So now we are going to cut the hands and the tails. If you look at it, you see that this is impossible to cut right to the half. We make sure to have selected this model. Then we are going to the cut tool again. We are going here and we are going to zoom out a little bit. We turn the build plate a little bit more. We are taking the red one again and we are going to put it at a 45-degree angle like this. So through the yellow block, we are going to move it a little bit more down. Just like this. Yeah. Now we need to add the connections. So we are going to click on add connections. We are going to rotate the build plate. We still have the dowel in hexagon shape. The depth ratio is 30. So it's going to be twice 30 and then 30 millimeters. And we are going to place 2 dowels, one on this side and one on this side. I'm satisfied with the connections. We click on confirm. Yeah. And we are going to say perform cut. But what if you see that one of the dowels are sticking out? You don't want to see them after you're done printing. And when I'm turning the model around, I see something like this. That means nothing will be printed here. And if I'm going to put the dowel in there, you will see the dowel. Always, when you are cutting models up into smaller parts, always check for these kind of things after you deselect the model, because in this stage you can still move them around. You know, you need to go one step back when it was still in one piece. So we are going to turn it around. At least this is how I do this. So we have the model selected. We are going to click on cut and we are going to make sure that when we are going to do the cut, that we don't have those nasty looking dowels that nobody wants. We are going to edit connectors. We have here the 4 connectors, but we know from the backside it is visible. We can move them a little bit closer to each other, confirm connections, and we are going to do perform cut. Once that is done, deselect it, and we don't see any transparent things sticking out here. So, and this is how it looks like in the end. This is a file that I have done before because, you know, I've got it here already. These are in total like 15 build plates. As you can see, I have gathered all packs on or dowels on one build plate, and I have aligned them so that it is most efficient to print these as good as possible. Little side note, if you have done this, there is an option to send all build plates to the printer, but so far I didn't succeed in getting one after another. Maybe I did do something wrong. I would suggest, if you are going to do something like this, save it, go here, save project as, and if you are going to do that, it is going to be pushed out as a 3MF file. So if you are going to work on projects like these, you can easily open them up and send the plates one by one to the Bambu 3D printer. And that is how you get an amazing, huge 75 centimeter tall model like Triku. This is, like mentioned, this is just one part of the big build, but I want to make a different video about that, because also, why not? Hey, if you made it this far in this video, you are amazing. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and you know what? Check out this amazing video right over here.